Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mickey, and I am the producer of this part 2 episode of the Backyard Bullshit podcast. And I'm your humble producer this evening, and let's waste very little time and let's get our co-hosts introduced.
Hey everyone, I'm Dealer.
This is Coolhand.
Hey, this is your buddy Vinny. I wasn't here last week. Got caught up with my girl Tiffany down at the Crazy Horse Saloon, but I'm here this week for you, the listener.
And with that being said, let's get right into it. So, the big thing in basketball, which we will get into in a moment. But first, the NCAA March Madness Finals. I know one of our co-hosts is kind of heartbroken over the results.
I wouldn't say heartbroken because I'm so proud of these guys for making it that far, overcoming expectations, really being great. It kind of sucks because you never know the next time you're going to get back into back into an NCAA championship final of any kind, football, basketball, whatever it is, and you just never know what's around the corner. So it's disappointing to a degree that they weren't able to finish it off even in overtime. But I'm proud of those guys. They showed up, and they showed that Tech is going to be here to stay.
Yeah, I love the Texas Tech run. Like you said, they overcame so many teams that nobody would have given them a chance. At the beginning of the year or at the beginning of when the bracket came out against. And, you think of the final, I mean, it's not like they got blown out. I mean, the game went into overtime. It was one of the better college basketball national championships I can remember seeing in a really long time as far as competitiveness and going down to the wire like that. I thought it was a great run for Tech, but you can't take away from what Virginia did, too. They made
some big shots. They made some big shots, some very contested shots that they had no business making. So,
yeah, that Kyle Guy kid.
That guy.
Man, he what a just bona fide definition of a shooter. And I mean, last year they lose the worst upset in the history of the tournament, the 1 versus 16, to come around and win the national championship this year. It's pretty incredible.
Yes, talk about a surprise final with Virginia and Texas Tech. But a big surprise is like the heavy favorite for the at least Final Four. The Duke team didn't even make it into the Final Four. What do y'all think about that?
I like it. I really like it. We got to see a team win their first. And in this, tournament here. It was actually something that the casual fan could actually turn on and appreciate, and probably the fans who are not Duke fans could actually appreciate too.
Well, if you also notice kind of a commonality with the Final Four this year was those are fairly senior-laden teams. A lot of guys who had been around. It's really showing that maybe it's not all about these one-and-done teams. These Kentuckys, these Dukes, they made it far into the tournament, but they're not as good of teams. Tech made this run because they bought in and they played together as a team. They have a guy that's going to be a lottery pick, but probably most of those other guys aren't even going to get drafted. And
yeah. I totally agree. Like the experience is such a factor. Yes, there's all these one and done kids, and they're unbelievable. They're lottery picks. Duke, out of 5 starters, 2 of their guys are going to go top 5 in the draft. That's an unbelievable team. Yeah, you're right.
Reddish will also probably go top 5.
Yeah, so they have unbelievable talent, but when it comes to the tournament and it comes to those huge games down the stretch, it does take that senior leadership. Also for Texas Tech, got to give it to Chris Beard. Someone is about to back the truck up to that guy and offer him whatever he wants to come coach. He seems.
Yeah. I team in Austin.
No, they're not doing it. They're stuck with Shaka Smart. Nothing like an NIT championship to keep you stuck with your coach. But no, someone's going to back the truck up to get that guy. I think he's the brightest young mind in college basketball right now.
I mean, he was coach of the year, AP coach of the year, so that's voted on by other coaches and writers. And he was unbelievable. Like I said, he took two of those guys were senior transfers, one from North Dakota State.
Mm-hmm. Where?
I mean, exactly. They play decent football at a 1AA level.
Ooh, a 1AA reference. All right. No FCS
it'll
here,
never
sir.
be FCS to me. It'll always be 1AA.
Throwing the shade on them. I like it. As a graduate from a 1AA school myself, I like it. Hey, let me ask, what's more impressive to you guys? That Texas Tech makes the run they do all the way to the national championship, making it to overtime, almost winning, Chris Beard, that whole story? Or is it the Virginia coming from the worst upset in the history of the tournament last year to the top of the mountain and winning the championship? Which to you is a more impressive feat?
You know which way I lean on that? I'm kind of biased, though, so I'll let you guys talk that one out.
Yeah, you're totally biased. You're completely biased in this.
Oh, that is just such a tough one to choose from. You know, I see the bias in Texas. I really do. Oh, I wish I had, if I had followed Texas a little bit more, I'd give them the edge.
That's fair. I mean, it's not like Tech came into this tournament as a complete dark horse. That team made it to the Elite Eight last year. Was really
the
good.
best team in the country, and
yeah, I mean, it's, you know, they were a 3 seed and probably obviously the best 3 seed, but you know, they were very highly thought of coming into the tournament. It's not like they snuck in or anything.
Right. It wasn't like they were a 9 seed and had to win their tournament to get into the dance. Like,
yeah, I'm going to give it to Virginia. I think
agree.
The Texas Tech story was awesome, and I rooted for them in the championship. But for the heartbreak to lose a 1-16 and
to be the first ever.
Right, and to glom together as a team and, you know, battle that adversity through the whole year. They were fantastic. They earned a 1 seed again. And then
the ACC, which is no joke.
Right, and then, you know, you come in, you get that monkey off your back with that first win, and after that, they never looked back all the way to the national championship. Had some close games to get there. I don't know. What Virginia did was really cool.
I mean, I cannot hate on what Virginia did. Like I said, just because of my bias, I have to go with Texas Tech. But, I mean, if it wasn't Texas Tech and it was a similar story, then I would probably go Virginia as well.
Both teams have incredibly impressive stories, and we shall see if there is this much of a power shift next year during the March Madness tournament. And
how high do you think Jarrett Culver goes, real quick, for Coolhand?
9 or 10 are in that range, depending on who it ends up being.
9 or 10. Do you think he slips that far? Okay.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of mock drafts where he's going like 5 and 7. I think his lack of size is going to hurt him.
Okay.
Going
For the listeners who don't follow, Jarrett Culver is the potential lottery pick that plays for Texas Tech that Coolhand spoke of. Anyway.
Yes, we will definitely see where he lands in the NBA draft. Best of luck to a fellow Texan collegiate athlete. Now, in the realm of professional basketball, oh man, for us Dallas fans, we got a sad bomb dropped on us as Dirk Nowitzki announced his retirement after 21 seasons. Guys, what are y'all initial thoughts?
Well, speaking as a San Antonio Spurs fan, which, by the way, did you see the reception they gave him?
It was incredible.
That's how you know the man has respect. That was during that run during Dirk's life run with the Mavericks, Spurs and Mavs were a big time rivalry. Like most of my Mavs friends hate the Spurs.
Yeah.
And to show the honor and respect that they showed him on Wednesday night was it's unbelievable. This shows you how great, not just player, but person Dirk really was.
Indeed, and that's without mentioning all of the standing ovations Dirk was getting across the entire NBA during the away games he was playing, from Madison Square Garden to Boston to the Oracle Center, just everywhere. People were standing up and cheering for Dirk. And that's not even including the game against the Clippers in Los Angeles, where Doc Rivers just called a timeout with like 14 seconds left in the game when it was clear the Clippers were going to win, grabbed him the mic and said, "Dirk Nowitzki, one of the greatest of all time."
Yeah. Yeah, and, to that point, the reception that he's gotten, so him and Dwayne Wade have always kind of been attached at the hip, right? The 2006 playoffs, obviously Dwayne Wade gets his championship. Dirk loses. Can Dirk win the big game? Fast forward, you get to 2011. They play each other again. Dirk gets his title. And then now they're kind of retiring. They are retiring at the same time. They're both having kind of their farewell tour right now. One thing I noticed, though, is Dwayne Wade hired like a documentary crew to follow him around all season. He's been doing jersey swaps, and he got into the All-Star game and all this different stuff. And it's this big spectacle, Dwayne Wade retiring. Dirk looks so shy all the time, and people are just bombarding him with this support, and like you just mentioned, all these accolades with Doc Rivers and all these other teams. I think it really speaks to the type of players, overall career and overall legacy, that the way you're going to look at it is Dirk's probably a top 15 of all time, maybe a top 10 player of all time. Dwayne Wade, top 50?
I mean, you could safely say Wade is top 50.
I'd probably say top 30, top 35. But
I'd go there too.
I agree.
And the Dirk, I mean, I love him, but I mean, when you're talking top 10, you have, Kareem, you got LeBron, you got Michael, you got
top 10's a stretch, but overall legacy wise, I mean,
he's definitely the second best power forward to ever play the game. You could make it.
We had that argument.
Right back to a previous discussion that we've had.
Oh yeah.
We've been there. We've done that.
Now, Dealer, you've been kind of quiet on this. We know basketball ain't exactly your most favorite sport, but coming from someone who favors other sports, like, what does Dirk mean to you specifically?
Dirk just stands as an icon for basketball, especially in DFW. I see it as, there's not really been a solidified icon to bless DFW as large probably as Dirk has in a long time. You think back to people like that, but you have your figureheads who come in now, like Nolan Ryan was pretty huge, but he wasn't just like a DFW guy. Dirk was. Dirk, as much as Milwaukee wants to remind us that they drafted him, he's definitely our boy, and I think that they would agree with that. But I would say that as much time as he put in with us, he's been our icon for DFW sports, and to have him for so long as we have, it's just been amazing. I'm excited to see who steps up and what sport it'll be next. We had Romo for a while, but not as nearly as large as an icon I think Dirk was, or successful too. So it's a lot of things you got to take into play there, but we're going to be needing somebody to step up, and Dirk has some really big shoes.
I mean, you really have to go back to those 90s Cowboys to really have iconic level guys like that in Dallas. You know, the Emmitt Smiths, the Troy Aikmans, the Michael Irvins. You know, he's the best Maverick of all time, hands down. But it's not just because he was a great player, which he was. It's also his attitude, taking less money so that the Mavericks could bring in better players. What he's done for the international game. You know, he's the best international player to ever play. And he showed that European players can come over and succeed in this league. And the NBA has completely changed because of it.
Yeah. You know, it's funny, as you guys are talking about this, and, you know, the 90s Cowboys and other guys that you can even, I mean, there's very few that even sniff Dirk's level, certainly in Dallas-Fort Worth. We should totally do this another segment, another time, but we should each come up with our Dallas Mount Rushmore and see how that shakes out, because Dirk definitely is on it for me. And there's not a lot of guys that, as far as, you know, what he did for this city, what he's done for the sport globally, taking discount after discount just to stick around. I mean, he's a true idol. He's, for me, what I grew up watching. Dirk is basketball for me. That's how I was too young to really see Michael Jordan in his prime, so I grew up with Dirk.
Well, and I watched those 90s Mavericks.
Oh, yeah.
Man, they were bad. I mean, Tony Braxton ruined that locker room. Tony Braxton?
Yeah, and then, you know, Michael Finley and Steve Nash and Dirk kind of became the big three, and all of a sudden Michael Finley and Steve Nash got shipped out, and, you know, Dirk was what he was. But, yeah, it's sad to see him go, but it's awesome that he got the type of reception that I think he deserved.
Yeah, he definitely did. The sports world sent him out the best way possible. Now, I'll have to spin this question to you guys. How opposed to seeing Dirk as a coach would you be?
Very.
Okay. I think he works in the front office.
Okay.
I think he's too smart. They're going to put him in the front office. Kind of like what they do with Michael Young right now to start off with. What the Rangers do with Michael Young, kind of a special assistant to the team, just to keep him around, you know, just to have his presence there will be huge for that roster.
Yeah, I mean, I think he has to stay on in some type of supportive role because of the players that are now on the Mavs roster. And the next step, you have Kristaps Porzingis and Luka Doncic, both European basketball players that, you know, are following in the footsteps that Dirk's career has led for European basketball players. So the amount of mentoring Dirk will be able to do for those players is essential. As far as a coaching role, I don't know about that, but I think he's got to be involved. He's got to be around. It's essential.
How long do you think before he comes back and, you know, slots in with somewhere?
Next year?
Yeah.
Next year?
Next year?
Yeah, I say a couple weeks they start talking to him about it.
Yeah, so you're going to say a full season goes by before Dirk itches and comes back. But you're saying a few weeks. So that's interesting there.
Yeah, Mick, what you seemed hardcore against this.
I mean, I love Dirk as a player, but I really don't think he has the capabilities to be a coach. I truly don't.
He's German.
Be a bad player to be a good coach.
I agree, because, you know, you always see some of those greats who can't explain how they be great. You know, they're having a hard time explaining their shots or their stance or anything like that, you know. And you really need those guys who are bad, because sometimes those are the guys that will wake up at, you know, be there with you at 2 a.m. on the court in the middle of a road trip and be there with, you know, the backup bench guys teaching them some things. I don't see Dirk sitting out there at 2 a.m., you know, courtside working on a bench player's, you know, free throw shot. I don't see that happening.
That's how Dirk became Dirk. It was exactly that. Showing up at 2 a.m., working on that damn fadeaway over and over with Hans, his German coach. I don't know. I think he's going to be around the Michael Young comparison for the Rangers, I think, is a good one. He'll be around. He's not going to be a coach, but in some type of administrative, some type of role, mentoring the guys. Hell, if he ran for the mayor of Dallas, I'm not positive he doesn't win.
Wow.
Bold statement, but I'm serious. I think
there's be said for that, to be honest. I mean, look at Arnold Schwarzenegger. He managed to become governor.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I mean, Donald Trump's our president, man. Shit happens. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, he's got that stardom. I could definitely see the next time we make the playoffs, Dallas rolling him out there, for the whole pony show. Say, hey, here's Dirk, kind of festivals. How long before we get a Dirk statue?
Not long. Maybe.
Also next year.
Years, maybe.
Yeah, if it takes.
Next year.
They'll make a statue.
I think they're going to retire his jersey probably the middle of next season.
Yeah.
And I'll think a statue will be unveiled right after that.
Where do you want the statue?
Oh, right in the heart of Victory Plaza.
Oh, that's a good one.
As you walk up those steps, right there in front of the arena, Victory Plaza, big bronze. I want long hair Dirk, and I want fadeaway Dirk. That's what I want. That back fadeaway, long hair. I want
kicked out.
Yeah. That's the Dirk I want in bronze forever. Yeah, man, it's crazy to see your legends go, but it was an awesome ride.
Yeah.
Indeed. Dirk is in fact getting a statue, and Mark Cuban did promise Dirk Nowitzki a job for life, so we'll definitely keep our eyes peeled to see where he exactly will end up in the Mavs organization. And speaking of basketball organizations,
and legends,
that too. The Los Angeles Lakers got a bit of a shock when Magic Johnson stepped down as general manager after only a few seasons. What do y'all think of that?
I'll say, I thought the whole Magic Johnson GM, LeBron James coming to LA, we're going to recruit all the free agents in the world. I thought the whole thing seemed like Firefest, but in the NBA.
Yeah.
Like, it's this gorgeous idea and this gorgeous concept that nobody great theories that nobody ever put any pen and paper to. Nobody gave any real thought about how logistically any of this is going to work. And you saw the Lakers essentially implode on themselves this year. It was ugly. And it wasn't all fun and games. It wasn't banana boat stardom, LeBron's there, and we're the best team. We're competing with the Warriors. It wasn't any of that. It was a disaster. And I don't think he had any idea what he was getting into in the first place.
But I think part of it is he's too busy doing other things because, he's also part of the baseball operations for the Dodgers and he's got his own businesses. Plus, they've already got a GM on that team when they brought in LeBron. We all know that LeBron is the GM, the head coach, the side cheerleader, and, and LeBron is too busy too. He's got too much going on. He should have probably saved remaking Space Jam and all that until after his career was over.
Oh, I don't know. I'm really looking forward to Space Jam.
Well, the funny thing is, did you hear they're having issues with getting big name players to do it? But if you look at the original cast, I mean, Sean Bradley, Muggsy Bogues. I mean, you're not exactly talking about guys that were big-time NBA players. Literally,
you're right.
Man, y'all are forgetting Patrick Ewing was in that movie.
Well, so is Charles Barkley.
Yeah, so is Charles Barkley.
Larry Bird.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And Michael Jordan.
How did they convince all those people to do it?
Money, probably.
I mean, not to get too far off subject, that's another one we should probably put in the tank. But who the best stars would be, or who realistically they get? I mean, do they get like Damian Lillard? Does he do it?
Um,
I think guys like that.
I feel like you got to bring Isaiah Thomas in for the
I
Muggsy
feel like
Bogues thing.
it's gonna be his banana boat crew who's gonna do it. Dwayne Wade's gonna do it. Chris Paul's gonna do it. Carmelo Anthony's gonna do it.
Yeah.
Maybe Dirk.
Dirk.
And then you're like, dude, we had Sean Bradley. Now we need Dirk.
Tall, goofy white guy, man. Like,
Yes. You need the German.
that's Dirk in a nutshell.
Oh
Well, how
my
about we
God.
choose Amy Poehler as Lola?
Sounds funny. Amy Poehler's funny. I mean,
I think she could fill the role.
I think that would work. I'm in on that.
Everyone knows her, and everyone really likes her from Parks and Rec. Kind of quirky and funny.
And bringing her husband, Will Arnett, to be Bill Murray's role.
Ooh, that's fun. There's a lot of people that could do that role really well.
like Bill Murray.
Who's tight with LeBron? Kevin Hart's gonna make an appearance in this thing, right?
Yes, but make sure his character is short.
I think Kevin Hart is going to be the Bill Murray character. I think Kevin Hart's going to show up with a shooter's sleeve, with time winding down against the Monstars, and he's going to come in and try to play, and he's going to blow out his tiny knees or something.
I don't know. I feel like he would be the Newman role. I don't actually know the guy's name, but
Wayne Knight.
I would just hope that they make fun of him for his height, because that's just become such a good running joke now. You would have to mention that in a basketball movie.
Speaking of Muggsy Bogues, I mean, Kevin Hart's 4'6". Like, that joke fits.
Wow.
That joke fits. That's boy, did we get off for Magic Johnson leaving the Lakers?
So back to AIDS. No, just kidding. Back to Magic Johnson.
It's funny you mentioned AIDS because Magic Johnson has been living with AIDS for 28 years, and then LeBron James comes to Los Angeles and he only lasts 9 months.
Oh.
Boom, boom, boom.
Wow.
Man, that was a shot across the bow.
Yeah, that was harsh.
Aggressive. Aggressive man.
This podcast, you can rename it the Chernobyl podcast because that was a nuclear take right there. Anyways,
Hot sports.
Anyway, self-aggrandizing aside, the whole thing with the Lakers is kind of a mess, like you mentioned earlier, because not only because they had Lonzo Ball come back, and before he got injured, he was actually putting up some pretty decent numbers. So, and then he gets hurt, and then the majority of the Lakers team gets hurt, including LeBron James, him having that groin injury, which sidelined him for...
Seriously.
So yeah, LeBron was sidelined for a good chunk of that season. Well, not a good chunk, but a noticeable chunk. And then you get the whole Anthony Davis fiasco when, the Lakers manager was trying to trade off pretty much everyone aside from LeBron and Tyson Chandler for Anthony Davis. I mean, that's just gotta mess up your team chemistry.
Yeah, you could see it on the bench. I mean, the guys, that's what LeBron does. That's what I'm talking about. It's the freaking Fire Fest. It's supposed to be the greatest thing ever, and it's so cool. But then it happens, and pen gets put to paper, and it was a disaster. Now, I'm not saying it's going to stay a disaster. LeBron's still really good. He's getting old. He's getting old quick.
I actually kind of disagree with that statement because I've watched LeBron in a Lakers uniform. I've watched him post-injury and before injury, and there's this, for lack of a better phrase, the spring in his step, that seems to be gone, honestly. And, I mean, let's face it, LeBron, before he came to Los Angeles, I think we can all agree, is in the tail end of his career. And I think this injury might have pushed. What am I trying to say here? It might have moved up his retirement date. It might have it come sooner.
There's a lot of miles on that car, man.
He's played an extra 2 or 3 years or a season's worth of playoff games, which are more intense. And groin injuries are tough. I still have issues with a groin injury that I got when I was like 15. Like, it comes back. Groin injuries are real tough to get over.
Now, Coolhand, to be fair, you're essentially a professional basketball player too.
Well,
So
absolutely.
it's basically the same thing.
Exactly.
100%.
No, LeBron's been playing since he was 18.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been playing since he's 18. What is he, 30, 34?
I think he's 33, 34, something like that.
I shall check.
I remember watching him play in high school. He still has the most watched high school game of all time.
Yeah, I remember that Irish jersey. I mean, he's a movement. Wow, the most best-selling high school jersey of all time. Add that to the accolades.
LeBron James is indeed 34. And just to add on to your Firefest theory, it's just not only did the Lakers have to go through everything we just mentioned, but also their coaching staff wasn't exactly the best. I think we can all agree.
You're saying Luke Walton's not the greatest coach of all time?
I am saying that.
What?
But his daddy's an announcer. That means he's going to be great.
He is?
That's funny.
He does a lot of college games. That's probably why you don't catch it. But, his dad does a lot of college announcing. And his dad was one of the best players of all time.
Speaking of Lakers coaching news, Tyrone Lue has emerged as a top candidate for the Lakers head coaching vacancy.
Oh my God,
what makes Tyrone Lue
please.
such a great coach? He just
LeBron
lets LeBron James do whatever he wants. That's why LeBron wants to bring him in.
Man. I wonder if Tyrone Lue has flashbacks every time he's in the Staples Center of Allen Iverson stepping over him like a child.
Forever immortalized Tyronn Lue. How bad is it that you're not going to be remembered for the championship you won as a coach, but you getting stepped over when you were a player?
I mean, hey, Tyrone Lue was a solid backup point guard for a long time in the NBA.
I'm certainly not saying he's bad. He was bad as a player. I'm just saying.
It'd be like that sometimes, man. He signed his deal with the devil and he joined LeBron. Yeah, he'll forever be the guy that got stepped over to me. Anyway, sorry, Magic. Go retire on an island somewhere with all your AIDS money.
He probably sleeps with his money, if we're being honest with ourselves.
Keeps him alive.
In South Park, you just have to inject $258,000 straight into your vein, and you clear your HIV. So,
I mean, I think at this point, scientists probably should start looking into it, considering he's had it for almost 30 years.
And he's never actually gotten to AIDS. He still has only HIV.
That too. I want to know.
I think it's a conspiracy.
Oh, do you now?
The government has the cure.
Another time. I don't think he has it. At all.
That's for a different podcast.
Yeah, it's a conspiracy. Anyway.
That's definitely a different podcast. And speaking of this podcast, in part 1 of our mega show, we went over the Stanley Cup playoff matchups, and we're going to do the exact same here for the NBA playoffs. Starting in the Eastern Conference, we are going to have our first matchup, which is the Milwaukee Bucks and Detroit Pistons, the first and 8 seeds. And I gotta be honest, I think this might be a sweep.
Yeah. Give me Bucks in 4. In fact, currently, it's 90-54 in Game 1.
Oh, Christ.
And it's only in the third period, by the way.
Well,
No-brainer.
This is a complete. Well, it seems like we're unanimous in the complete wash effect. Dealer, what do you think? Yeah, that's fair.
90 to 54 with 5:33.
They've almost doubled them while hitting triple digits. That close to hitting triple digits. Yeah, I don't see a comeback happening.
Agreed, and it's really a shame because Blake Griffin is having probably the best season of his career.
Yeah,
Well, he's on the bench. He's hurt. He's out for the game.
Oh, he got hurt?
Yeah, he's in street clothes right now.
Oh, geez. Well, then, yeah, Bucks and 4.
We're
Just
repping his gang.
what? The Clippers?
Yeah, sorry, that was too far. Who's next on the matchup?
All right. So rest in peace, Detroit Pistons. Sorry, Blake Griffin. We have the number 7 seed and the number 2 seed, the Orlando Magic and Toronto Raptors. And before we talk about this, I should mention Orlando actually won the first game.
Sneaky good.
I still got the Raptors taking this in 5. I think they win the next 4 games. But did you know the Raptors are actually 1-8 in home games when they are when the first game is at their house? 1-8.
Is this
I don't know
true?
what's going on in Toronto. They just can't show up.
It's not what we call home field advantage.
No. I'm taking the Raptors, though. I'm taking the
I
Raptors,
agree.
and I think Kawhi is staying in Toronto this year. Bold, hot sports take. Hot sports take.
Ooh, burning over there.
Yep.
I'm going to have to go with the Raptors. With the Raptors in this one here.
And how many games do y'all think the Raptors will put away the Magic?
I'm going to say 6.
Yeah, I agree. I'm also going Raptors in 6 because, in all honesty, Orlando shouldn't have won that first game, but they did. And so I feel like their momentum is going to be a tad bit harder to slow down as opposed to if Toronto won the first game. So, but still, Raptors in 6. Dealer.
Raptors in 5.
All right, you think that the game 1's going to be their only misstep? We shall see how it happens. And Kawhi Leonard staying in Toronto? Maybe that's a topic for another podcast. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Free
And
agency will be hit hard.
agreed. And speaking of hit hard, the Brooklyn Nets and the Philadelphia 76ers, the number 6 and 3 seed respectively, with I believe it's the Nets who won that game. Am I mistaken here?
That is correct.
Who do y'all favor in this matchup?
I'm still taking the 76ers.
In how many
I think
games?
they're going to get it together.
Well, as long as the 76ers stop looking at their phone on the bench, I think they'll be all right.
Now to
Gotta
be
stay real on Twitter, bro.
fair, Joel Embiid came out after the game and said that the guy who was looking on his phone, apparently, according to him, his daughter was really, really sick, so he was checking in on her.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
Well, the Pistons. I mean, the 76ers still find him. So
It's an odd time to do it. Odd time to check.
accuracy. So, like, you gotta. It's probably not the best call still to pull that out on the bench. Lots of guys have sick kids, all the time. There's a time and place for that. It's called the locker room at halftime.
Oof.
Ooh, hot sports take. I'm taking the 76ers.
In how many games?
More assholes
Joel
for
Embiid, Jimmy Butler. I mean, 76ers are good, man. They're good. They got a lot of talent. I think they're going to get it figured out. I think eventually those personalities are going to get along, and I think they make a little run in the playoffs. I don't know if they get all the way to the finals, but I think they get it together and make a run. Give me the Sixers.
I'm going to say Sixers fall in Game 7.
Really?
Ooh, that's exciting.
The
I
Nets?
got Sixers and 6.
Now,
Wow.
hold on.
6-6, huh?
Dealer.
Oh yeah. Oh, they are the Devils.
Coolhand doing devil shit again. There you go.
Dealer.
Philadelphia, so.
Dealer, I want to know why you're picking Brooklyn in 7, because that's You want to talk about hot takes? Ooh, that's a bold prediction.
I think that would be good for the market. Good for, you got a big city, you got some big money, going 7, turn some heads, you get a win. It's good for basketball.
That's true. Do you think the 76ers' chemistry issues is going to be their downfall to Brooklyn?
I think speed's going to be more of a factor in the game. I really do.
It is. That is very fair, and like we mentioned earlier, the Sixers do have the more talented and more depth in their roster with Embiid and Tobias Harris and Ben Simmons and J.J. Redick, who I swear people are sleeping on. I mean, J.J. Redick's putting on great numbers.
Always been slept on, man. Always been slept on. He's an awesome shooter.
Well, especially on that team where he can just stand there and shoot threes.
That's all he has to do, and he's great at it.
Yeah.
That is very true. So, we actually have a split of 3-1 with the three of us going 76ers in either 5 or 6 games, but we have Dealer going Brooklyn in 7. We'll definitely keep y'all updated on that. And then, lastly, in the Eastern Conference, we have the 4 and 5 seed, the Celtics versus the Indiana Pacers.
This one's fun. This one's fun, and this one should be really close. I can kind of go either way.
You think it's a bit of a coin toss?
I think it's a bit of a coin toss. I give the edge to Indiana personally.
Really? What makes you say that?
I like Oladipo. I don't buy the chemistry in Boston. Kyrie's great, but I think it's going to be a close one. I think you can kind of take it either way, but I believe a little more in the Indiana in it. I'll say Indiana in 7, maybe in 6 if they get lucky, but in 7 probably.
Now you mentioned
I got the Celtics in 7. I think they're just too talented. Plus, I really, really want to see a Bucks-Celtics matchup in the second round. So it's kind of more of a personal thing.
Now, Vinny, you said you like Victor Oladipo. Victor Oladipo's been injured for a good chunk of the season. He's not even playing.
Yeah, I know. I root for him. I root for him in spirit.
Ah, I see.
Yes.
He's your spirit animal?
He's my spirit animal. Yeah. There's just something about saying Oladipo at the top of your lungs, just, Oladipo! That's my spirit animal. And so, for that reason, I ride with his gang, riding with the Pacers.
In how many games?
We're going to say 7.
7. All right. I gotta agree with Coolhand here. I think Boston just has their number this year, and I'm gonna go Boston in 6. What say you,
right.
Mr. Dealer?
I'm going to say Indiana in 5 because I hate Boston.
Jeez.
All right. My
And
brother.
I think that town is very starved for a championship. And although they're starved, they should starve a little bit more.
They only got the last 2 of the 4 major sports.
Well, we have a very, very, very biased take on this matchup. It's clear to us that Dealer has some previously unknown hatred for the city of Boston and their sports teams. So we'll see how this series goes and see if Dealer's hatred is vindicated. Moving on, the Western Conference. The LA Clippers playing against the Golden State Warriors. Warriors in 4.
Yep. The series isn't already over yet? Like, I just assumed it's already done.
Sweep, 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 sweep.
Yeah. They're selling a lot of brooms right now in Oakland, that's for sure.
Yeah, just look, Los Angeles, I see what you're trying to do with Steve Ballmer now at the helm, but honestly, you kind of deserve to get swept after the way you treated Blake Griffin. So, yeah, Warriors in 4. Dealer?
Warriors.
I was like, man, you've made some bold predictions, but if you come out here and say Clippers, I'm going to lose my mind.
Go crazy.
Look, man, I don't watch very much basketball, but I know a sweep when I see one.
A sweep does, in fact, seem imminent for these poor Clippers. So we're just going to move on to hopefully something that will be much more entertaining. The San Antonio Spurs playing the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets being the 2 seed and the San Antonio being the 7th seed. And despite that, the San Antonio is currently ahead in the series by 1 game. What are y'all's predictions?
Well, the problem with the Nuggets is they had a great year, but they just aren't that good of a team. They kind of caught the Western Conference on a down year during the regular season. And even though they're a tough place to win at, they already lost the first game at home. I've got the Spurs in 6. That part of the bracket in the Western Conference is actually going to be pretty interesting to watch.
Agreed. So, do you think the Nuggets are just pretenders with Jokic and the supporting cast, or do you think...
Pretty much. I mean, the Spurs aren't that much better. I mean, they got DeMar DeRozan and basically a supporting cast, and LaMarcus Aldridge, but he's not the player that he was. But they also have the best coach. I mean, and that's going to make a big difference, I think, in these series where the talent level itself is actually fairly close.
I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of ignorant to this matchup. I don't know a ton about either team. But I'm going to say Denver.
In how many games?
6.
I'm going Denver in 7.
Ooh, all right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and say, give me the pop-up basketball, Spurs in 7.
So it sounds like we're completely split on this, with Coolhand and Dealer picking San Antonio, although all of us think it's going to be a 7-game series. Although myself and Vinny think it's going to be Denver in 7. So hopefully this will be fun to watch. And, well, half of us will be right and the other half will be incorrect. So we'll see
We'll fight to the death. We'll fight to the death in these streets over our opinions.
It shall be a bloodbath. Will the pretenders prevail, or will the veteran Spurs with the greatest basketball coach of all time prevail? Tune in next time on Dragon Ball Z. Moving on, the Western Conference, we have this I feel like is going to be an interesting matchup. We have the Portland Trail Blazers, the number 3 seed in the West, playing the Oklahoma City Thunder, the 6th seed, with the Portland Trail Blazers taking Game 1. I myself, man, despite Westbrook's triple-doubles, I really do think the Blazers are going to take this in. I could see it going to 7, but my official prediction is Portland in 6.
You think Portland at 6? Wow. No, I'm going to go the opposite of that. I think Thunder in 6. And boy, this one's going to be really, really fun because Dame and Westbrook do not like each other at all, and they are not afraid to let each other know. And that's just good TV.
It really is.
This is probably the hardest one for me to call because they're such contrasting styles. They can play completely different types of games. And for me, I'm going to take the Thunder in 7 just because the Thunder have the best player on the court, and that's Paul George. But it's so tough for me to call this one. It's going to be close. It's going to be hard fought. It's going to be it's just going to be a heck of a series to watch.
Agreed.
Well, I think that there's a storm of brewing, and there's going to be a Thunder in 7. Thunder and lightning! Thunder and lightning!
Well,
yeah, man. Paul George and Westbrook together, and I like Steven Adams' game. I'm taking the Thunder. Close, though. It'll be really fun to watch. This will be maybe the most fun series out of all of them to watch, I think.
Well, it sounds like I'm standing alone here with Portland. We'll definitely see how the series shakes out, and we'll see if Damian Lillard and Russell Westbrook throw hands, and because that's just going to be a fun thing to watch. And
Slap hands.
All you have to do is turn on NBC Sports and watch the hockey. That's all that is. So.
Yes.
In the meantime, we will be looking at the final matchup in the Western Conference. The number 4 and 5 seeds, the Rockets and the Jazz. Guys, I gotta be honest with you. I think, despite the fact that these teams are so close in ranking, I'm gonna go bold and say Rockets in 4 games.
Yeah, I don't know if it's 4. I was going to say Rockets at 5. I think a lot more highly of the Rockets than the 4 seed. I think this is the year James Harden finally puts it all together. I'm picking Houston for sure.
Rockets in 5 for me. I think they'll let one slip away. That's one issue that Mike D'Antoni teams always have, is they always let a game slip away that they shouldn't be losing. And I do think it's going to be a pretty easy series for them, but they need to try to sweep this series because they're going to have to play the Warriors in the next round. And they're going to need to be well rested.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, well, I see how everyone's leaning here, so I'm just going to go ahead and make things interesting, and I'm going to say Utah in 6.
And what makes you say that,
Dormant
Dealer?
Mormons.
I feel like Houston's one of those cities that if they start off on the wrong foot, they're down 0-1, things can really get away from that team real quickly, and I think we're going to see that happen here.
I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, the Rockets last season were honestly picked to beat the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals, but then Chris Paul got hurt, and that's what a lot of people attribute to them losing the series. But the Rockets do have a healthy roster for the most part, so we'll see if they can pull it together. So
I think they're the best matchup against. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but yeah, I think they're the best matchup against the Warriors. If you look down the stretch in the playoffs, and I mean, Chris Paul doesn't get hurt last year. I think they beat them. I really do. So
I agree with you on that.
even with the Warriors adding DeMarcus Cousins.
Yeah, I know. I mean, the Warriors are a super team, the likes of which we never seen. I get it. The addition of DeMarcus Cousins just makes them that much more dominant, certainly at that position. But I don't know, man. I think Houston's right there. I think they're really hungry, and I think this is kind of their last shot to really make a run at it before that team is really going to start to look different. And, I'm going to make a bold hot sports take. I think the Rockets represent the Western Conference in the NBA Finals.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
Hot sports takes.
Well, with that being said, we might as well get to our NBA Finals predictions. Vinny, you said you already said you think the Rockets are going to represent the West in the NBA Finals. Who do you think is going to represent the East?
I'm going to say Rockets, Bucks, and I'm going to say the Bucks in 6. Hot sports take.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Man.
Curveball.
You have that much faith in the Bucks, but not that much faith in the Rockets.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of coming up with that one on the fly a little bit here. I haven't sat and done a ton of homework, but the gut says what the gut says, and I trust it, and so that's what I'm going to say. I also should note that I'm really not good at gambling on sports, so if you're listening to this, do not place wagers or take much clout in what I say.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say the same waiver right there for myself. I'm awful at this stuff. So But so having that said, I'm going to go ahead and say Warriors, Bucks, like Milwaukee. Their city's having a lot of fun with sports right now. So I'm going to go Milwaukee in 7.
An interesting pick. The Milwaukee Bucks and most likely MVP this season, Giannis, insert last name here, prevailing over the super team. We shall definitely see. Now, Coolhand, do you by chance have a hot prediction for us?
All right. Well, I've got the Warriors coming out of the West. I think they've got one last run in them. I think they're losing Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson in the offseason. That's my hot sports take. That both of them will be gone. Oof. And I've got the Raptors winning the East. I think they come back from losing that first game. I think they're the most talented team left in the East. Well, no, the 76ers are the most talented team, but I think the Raptors, with the addition of Marc Gasol, really solidify themselves, and I think they'll come out of the East this year with the best two-way player in the game. And then in the finals, I've got Warriors in 7.
You think it's going to go to 7 games?
I think it'll go to 7 games.
Well, that's an interesting take. We'll see if it happens. My take for the NBA Finals is out of the West, the Warriors, and out of the East, I gotta agree with Coolhand. I think it is going to be Toronto in the finals. However, I think I'm going to go Warriors in 5. Despite Kawhi Leonard and Marc Gasol, I do not see the Warriors getting denied their three-peat. Steph,
what a fun pick. Yeah, what a fun pick. Warriors in 5. That's the NBA Finals we all want to watch.
Look, I'm not saying this is what I want to happen. I'm just
finals of the last 2 years.
No, I mean, you're right. You're making the smart bet. You're hedging your money the right way. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying, man, if you're right, that blows.
Yeah, although this is assuming the Warriors can stay healthy, because if one of them goes down, ooh, man, I think it's going to be tough for him to recover. Whether it be Durant, Curry, Thompson, Green, or who am I missing? Curry. If one of those 5 goes down, I think it's going to be a tad easier for the opposing team to put up a fight. So we'll have to see. And those, ladies and gentlemen, are our NBA playoff predictions, and we will return to this subject in a future episode along with the Stanley Cup playoffs. In the meantime, however, the last bit of news we're going to leave with y'all tonight is from the world of golf, where a certain player, what Coolhand is referring to here is the fact that Tiger Woods has won the PGA Tour. Or was it the Masters?
Masters? It was Augusta.
Look, golf ain't my sport, alright?
No, I'll say something about Tiger. I mean, I know his legacy will somewhat. I mean, you have to talk about him, the sex with 150 women, and his wife bashing his car in with a golf club and all that shit. You have to talk about it when you mention Tiger Woods. But make no mistake, Tiger Woods is the greatest golfer of all time who the map. And for him to go through back surgery after back surgery after back surgery to come all the way back, he was terrible when he started playing golf again like 2 or 3 years ago. And back to win the Masters at Augusta, it's one of the best sports comeback stories of all time.
Well, you know who's really the happiest out of everybody? It's not Tiger. It's the people that run the PGA. Because the best the PGA has ever had was when Tiger was running things, when he was in the middle of being great. They had viewership was through the roof. They had people playing golf that had never played golf before. I mean, he transcended the sport. He made it an everyday, every Joe kind of person sport. And now
He's a video
Tiger's
game.
back, people are going to start watching again.
He's a video game. Golf needs him. Golf needs that. And it's okay for golf to need that. And it's okay that he had sex with a lot of women. It does not tarnish him at all for me. I think it's awesome.
Even a few extra bonus points.
You know, I mean, I'm not totally surprised by it. Whatever. You know, I think Ben Roethlisberger probably has sex with a lot of women too. I think that's what professional athletes do. But
In closets.
man, for Tiger to come back, I hope he wins another. I hope he wins the PGA or he's able to, you know, pull something else off this year. I hope he's really back.
Wow.
Because that would be so fun to watch. So fun to watch. I don't know if he's got it in him. I don't know if this was just a miracle and we witnessed greatness or there's something to it. But thought it was great. Absolutely legendary, historic shit.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say this is the last Masters win for him. This is the last cookie in the cookie jar. He shook it all out. It was a tough thing. You know, we even saw the rare President Trump getting behind this and trying to get viewers to tune into this, Masters. So it was something really special here. I'm going to go ahead and say congratulations to him. But that's his last one. I don't see him getting another one.
As much as I want Tiger to win another tournament, I gotta agree with Dealer here. I think this was a bit of a last hurrah for Tiger, but great on him for winning the Masters, though.
I mean, if there's going to be a tournament that you your last win ever, the Masters is going to be a pretty darn good one. That'd be the one I'd want to win if I was a golfer. That would be the one that'd be most important.
Nah, I'm with you, Tiger. Haters gonna hate. Go get you a PGA championship too. Hell, get the triple crown or whatever they call it in golf.
The Grand Slam?
Is that it? All right, it's a great slam.
All those ropes white boy sports, they all have the same lingo.
Yeah, man, I didn't grow up. Your cousin Vinny didn't grow up at the country club, but yeah, no. I hope he wins them all. The haters gonna hate, Tiger. Go get you another one.
And with that, we conclude our part 2 of this massive episode where we had a lot of news to cover. And so, with that being said, my name is Mickey, and I am signing off for the Backyard Bullshit Podcast.
This is Vinny.
Coolhand, y'all keep it great.
Vinny, peace out, guys.
Dealer cashing out.
Y'all, have a good one, and thanks for listening.